Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Canny, and with me today is Courtney.
Hi.
Adam.
Hello.
And the Helldiver himself, Robert Newman!
For democracy. If you play Helldivers, you see my hands up for democracy. You know what I'm talking about.
Rob's been talking about this Helldivers video game, and it sounds like a lot of fun, but I'm getting ready to start the podcast and do all this stuff, and the conversation.
Bro, it's so good. We need to try to make a board game that does this.
So it's like a squad game where you're working together to fight off baddies.
Yes, but you're working together with everybody that's playing the game, and you'll get updates.
So like MMO Extreme, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but when you do missions, though, your missions are only up to 4 people at a time, or at least where I'm at. I haven't even unlocked the hard levels. There's 9 levels of difficulty.
Would you say?
I'm on the first one.
Would you say that Helldivers is a couples game? That's our topic for tonight: is couples games.
Polyamorous, and yeah, it's a polyamorous couples game. You know, you can
it's a quadruples game, I guess.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You can play with the couple.
But yeah, you could go on a double date and do the Helldivers fighting off monsters.
That game though, that game could potentially hurt relationships more than help them. I just see
it's one of those.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? In space or something? I don't know.
Yeah. I thought in space they can't hear you scream.
They can't hear you scream unless it's my wife calling my name.
Oh,
I will hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have an episode today where we have some news article things. We're going to talk about what we've been playing and then also talk about couples games. So games that work well with couples, which I guess we're a little post-Valentine's Day here. But hey, maybe you got to play some awesome couples games during your Valentine's Day excursions. But yeah, I just ate sushi, which was amazing.
Kent and I got COVID for Valentine's Day. It was wonderful.
Oh,
it's terrible.
Romantic.
Yeah, so romantic.
Did you give it to each other?
It's sharing germs.
Yeah, we gave it to each other. Well, we got it from our oldest son, and then he gave it to me, and then I gave it to Kent. So
there you go. You have antibodies that can make it not happen again.
Well, it's the 3rd time I've gotten COVID, so yeah.
3rd time's the charm.
Once a year. I get it once a year, so hopefully I'm done for the year.
Knocking on drywall for
in the house.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to. It's been a minute. I did get it a second time this fall, but I'm only on 2 runs. Only on 2.
Yeah, I normally get pretty lucky with the sickness, but I shouldn't say that too loud because
don't
on things.
What's that song? Da da da, getting down with the sickness. You're getting lucky with the sickness. Da, da, da.
I don't remember the song. I mean, I remember.
How are you guys doing? I know Kent's on his normal Lorcana run.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten back yet, so we'll see.
We miss Matt. Even though Matt probably has the best computer out of all of us, he also has computer issues here from time to time.
Well, his motherboard is like 7 or 8 years old. That's what he was telling me the other day.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's not.
That'll do it.
I knew.
Yeah, and so we were talking last night because we're getting ready to start our D&D campaign. Our first session is March 2nd, and so I was having a Skype call with all of the players, and so everyone's pretty excited about that.
You should pull a Seafall and just like the very first game, TPK, and be like, okay, make new characters.
No, because I want people to enjoy themselves. I want them to have a good time.
Or just or just kill all their characters and then hand out pre-made characters to all of them. That would be even worse.
I did tell them during the call that there could be a TPK and to have backup characters just in case. So we were talking about his character, and I'm pretty excited about what he's got coming and some of the things that he's going to do in the world that we've created. And so he's excited. He hopefully will have his computer fixed this weekend, so he should be on by our next show. And
it would be kind of fun to have like the very first game day, like your characters like running around and doing all this stuff, and all this awesome stuff happens. But then at the end of it, they get captured. And then the next session, you make them play different characters that have to go try and free the first characters.
I saw this one session where the guy.
And then every other session, you play the different characters, but they're in the same world.
That's not a bad idea. I saw that.
Matt's not on the show right now. He doesn't know.
No. Like we're too invested. Some of Matt's backstory is really exciting. I want to see it flesh out.
For character 1, what about character 2?
You know what? When he came on the call last night, he was saying like, "Hey guys, I have like 6 different ideas for characters and backstories, so I could kill him off. I could do what you're saying
You're
because
like,
he's
you're
got
like, listen, you shouldn't have that many ideas because you make
Yeah.
it so I don't feel so bad. You know?
Yeah. So I could potentially do that with Matt.
Ah,
He's
there's
not
nothing
listening.
much like D&D.
So much fun.
Such a crazy game.
So much. In fact, during our next when we do our next podcast, we should have the first session done by then.
Oh,
So Matt and I
nice.
can talk about it.
And we get the full
sweet.
update.
Yeah. Sammy's playing. She's promised not to do any like blood rituals and kill a bunch of innocent people.
That's terrifying.
So she's going to be
I
a
don't think
human bard that's crazy serious about her singing, but everything else she's carefree on.
Ah.
Does that mean it's going to be a musical? Is she going to sing a lot?
Yeah, she's going to sing a lot. And
It's gonna give that bardic
I've already talked to her
inspiration.
about a playlist. So we've got a playlist for her of like all 1980s and 90s female rock ballads that I've downloaded. She's one of those people where like you have to be careful because as smart and as crazy and as wise as she is, she's also like squirrel. And she will just go. So like you're planning this big session, you want to do stuff, and all of a sudden, she'll just kill somebody. So
Is her character's name Pat Scimitar? That was
No.
pretty good.
We had a session of the D&D game that we do for work for the Dice Tower, and Tom had written up backstories for our characters, and he had written something in there about how like my brother was slayed by this dragon with like a gigantic cat's head. And so I planned as a character, if I ever saw a cat in game, it was gonna have to be done for.
or
'cause,
revenge
like,
for her brother.
well,
I love that.
Right. And but I never told anybody about this. Anyway, so we go to this hobgoblin
Roy's
town,
character's got this cat
and there's
PTSD.
this little Tom's describing everything, and he's not even thinking about this at all. But he says there's this little hobgoblin girl like petting a cat, and I was like, "Did you say a cat?" Like that you can see it on the Dice Tower. And not only did I get upset, but also oh my goodness, Joey was also like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill that cat." And I have no clue why. Joey still hasn't told me why he wanted to kill the cat also. But he starts running after the cat with a battle axe in hand. And before he could get to the cat to slay it, like I shoot a magic missile and like destroy the cat. And he's like, "Oh, you killed!" Like he's like, "Roll for
What about
damage."
the
I
girl
rolled.
holding
Like,
the cat? Did you
yeah,
kill the girl?
he said a little girl, she could take damage from this. I'm like, she's a hobgoblin. It's fine, you know. Don't worry about it.
No. Whoa.
But
Roy did not
but we
represent all the
basically
views of Epic Game Night.
pulverized the cat, and then we had to basically like bluff our way out of all the town folk attacking us, which had to do with one of the other characters giving all the kids like candy to replace their poor dead cat. But yeah, and then they were all mad because they didn't understand why me and Joey wanted to kill a cat. I still don't understand why Joey wanted to kill the cat, but for me, I was trying to avenge my brother. And dragons could polymorph. That cat could have been the cat that
dragon.
killed my brother. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Tom didn't expect
think
us
you're
to do that
justified.
either. He's like, what is going on? And I was like, this is your fault. You know what you did. This is your fault. He's like, I didn't make you do anything. I'm like, yes, you did. It's your fault. Anyway, chat was appalled.
Yeah, hopefully there weren't too many cat lovers there.
There are a lot
There
of
were.
animal lovers in the board game community.
There were
Yeah.
some people that were like, this took a weird turn and I don't know if I really like it. And some people in the chat were like, yes! It was so mixed
Just
reactions.
murder hoboing it.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
that's that.
pretty
You gotta be
wild.
ready.
I
My
can
old
explain it during the next session, but it's fine.
I had a game where my kids were my kid's friend. They're probably in 6th grade, 5th grade, and he would always rob the bakery. Always rob the bakery for food. He'd like stock up, and finally, after we were playing for a while, I'm like, "You have a reputation as a bakery robber, and all the bakers have hired orcs to guard the bakeries at night." So
Oh, wow.
he eventually went into the bakery to find like just a bunch of mobbed up orcs that he had
That's awesome.
to steal the bread.
That's awesome.
So you guys have finally picked up on this. All right, it's about to go down.
Every session turned into the first 30 minutes.
What do you
with
say? Like,
breaking into
hand
a
over the scones and there won't be any problem.
That was pretty much it.
But I guess we should get into some of our news here. The first one is Thunder Road Vendetta Carnival of Chaos. Have you guys seen this crazy picture that they've had for the advertisement for this?
It's not good
Yes.
for me.
Like this is like
It looks
and they
amazing.
have cards that say "Witness me" on them. Like what?
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks crazy, and I guess it's going to be a new mode to play the game. It's also going to add a 5th player in that you can play without having to play the bikes or the big rig. I played a game with Courtney of this where we played 6 players with everything.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was nuts because I was running
It took so long.
I was running a shift, like helping pick up flags and helping people around the Dice Tower library in between my turns because they were that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still a blast to play. I don't think I was the
I
first
love
person to
the
die
picture.
either. I would come back and I'm like, how are none of my cars dead? I told you guys to kill me. They're like, we
Not
tried.
for
we
lack
couldn't
of
do it."
trying, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
this
this
looks
is
Trying to
crazy.
get myself dead.
Basically, everybody's like driving straight into the Thunderdome, blowing each other up.
Yeah,
Well,
it looks
that's the
looks super
question, 'cause
incredible.
It looks like the cars are driving towards the center. So it's like, are you the first one to claim the center, and like, do you get points for stuff like that? It looks amazing, and then it looks like there's like a barricade around it. So like, okay, do you have to last so long, or do you just keep fighting each other until you're the last one left? Like that would be cool. Is it a Thunderdome style where it's like a fight to the death? That would be a lot of. Do you know if it is that way?
I'm not sure. I don't think there's a whole lot of information released about it. And I remember I saw this picture once and then like on an ad and then I clicked away. I think it was like on an Instagram story. And then I couldn't find this picture for the longest time. And I was telling Chris about it. And I'm like, Chris, there was this crazy picture where it had the circle thing. And I kept like, I couldn't find it again until finally it popped up for me again. And I screenshotted it immediately. Because I'm like, I need this picture. So, but yeah, so this is my screenshot of my Instagram story because I don't think it's on. I don't think I've seen this picture like on their Facebook page or on the other thing before. So it's kind of cool. Like, oh, there's the picture of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, looks pretty exciting.
Restoration games just fires on all cylinders, man. Like
Killing it, man. They're killing it.
always, just always.
It's funny. We did board game breakfast today, and we had Justin Jacobson talking about, I guess, like the development work and how much that plays into the cost of a board game. Anyway, so immediately when he came on, he talked about how he got he's the board game necromancer and how he got that name from this show, which is kind of funny. So I'm like, yes, that was forever ago when we had Justin on, back when he first was starting Restoration Games. They had a few games out, but like they definitely weren't nearly as big as they are now, which is huge. So that's kind of
Yeah, I mean they've earned it. Just so many home runs. This looks awesome. This looks super awesome.
Yeah, Kent and I finally played the Tales to a Mage Unmatched co-op, and it was so much fun. We played it with Steven, our oldest son. He loved it. Like he just keeps asking to play it again. And like
need
I
a
was,
copy of it.
we got we played it like once or twice, and the second time I was like, I brought the T-Rex in there. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It's just like
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
killing the
yeah.
Mothman with the T-Rex. It was.
I have a
It's
stack
just
of Unmatched, but
such
I
a wild
don't want to
system.
play it 1v1 against like my kids just because I play so much Unmatched. But if we play a cooperative version, it would definitely be way easier to get to the table, and I wouldn't feel bad about like
Yeah. No, Steven loved it. So he keeps asking to play it again.
That's awesome.
But he wants to play something different. So I was like, we'll have to wait till they make more stuff for it.
Oh, for sure. The next one here is a game that Adam was just telling me before the show that he really wanted to get to the table or get it played at some point.
Yeah.
This is Robot Quest Arena, and this is an expansion for Robot Quest Arena. This is Bot Battle. I'm not quite sure if this is there's a game found coming soon for this from Wise Wizard Games. But I'm not sure if this is like a standalone expansion or how exactly this is going to work, but I love Robot Quest Arena. It was one of my favorite games of last year. It's just a super simple deck building robot smashing game.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Have you played this, Rob? I shouldn't tell you to play games. You're gonna be like,
No. Yeah, and please don't. Because I'll play it once and I'll buy it. It looks amazing, and I love the miniatures. I love the way that it looks, but I haven't got into it yet. Just because I'm buying other stuff. But like if I were to go to Kent Courtney's house and play it, I'd probably end up buying a copy.
Have you played it?
Yeah, your
Catherine?
kids would probably like it. Yeah, Steven loves this one too. It's another one he
amazing.
keeps asking to play. It's so much fun.
I
Well,
know I
now there's
played it
people that I
with-
watched like it too. Like the components to me are top notch, and they
Oh,
come
yeah.
pre-painted and stuff like that, or at least I've
Mhm.
seen that they
Right.
do.
Yes.
And
mhm.
so it looks fun. It looks like one of the like I think my youngest would enjoy this because she's the more I'll kill you, get out of my way type of a thing. So I think that'd be a good time.
So yeah, I played this with Scotty and Violet and Ruthie, and they had a blast with it. But then also we took it and showed it to Ruthie's like best friend, and they're not board gamers at all. They play video games, stuff like that, but not really board games. And they went out and immediately bought everything for this game after playing it. So if that's not a testament to how good the game is, and I've seen them post a bunch of like Instagram stories of them playing this game over and over again. So this is like their game now. They don't have that many board games, but they've played this one so many times, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it looks like a good family level game. I know I'm going to pull the trigger and then end up buying all the extra robots because got to have all the robots, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
My copy of this was on the Hot Games table at Dice Tower East, and it was played to death. So like all the cards are like super wore out. So I really need to sleeve it so I
Mhm.
can play it more. But yeah, it got played to death at Dice Tower East, and Tom's like, "Oh, I've got a new copy of it. Here you can have the old busted one." I'm like, it was good enough to be like, "I will take the old busted one. I am fine with that." So
Love to hear it.
the next one here, does anybody else want to talk about this one? Have you seen this yet?
Oh, I guess I can start. I
talking.
honestly, I know. So this is the next Crossroads game from Plaid Hat Games, Wandering Galaxy, and if it's anything like the last couple of crossroady endeavors, or at least campaign or story-driven endeavors by Plaid Hat, I imagine it's gonna be really good. I haven't played for your Freelancers yet, but I did really enjoy Forgotten Waters. I love Dead of Winter, which is that's the original Crossroads game, I believe. And the idea behind the Crossroads deck, of course, is that like as you're going through and taking these turns, there's sort of this story-driven element of chaos that you get to share with the table while you're playing the game. And I haven't read a ton about this. I assume it's kind of a co-op story crawler. It's like a spiral-bound book. You can turn through and open the different maps and play through. And Roy and I were talking right before we got on, and it's very clearly going for a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, which I'm all for. I'm here for it. Let's do kind of this like tongue-in-cheek, kind of fun, accessible
the sheep
space
guy
adventure.
On the front looks so much like Rocket Raccoon with the two guns in hand. Like,
Yeah, it's
So-
just got that vibe to it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I just feel like again, I haven't played Freelancers. I'm just going on the opinions of friends at this point, and I'm sure I'll play it at some point. But if it's following in that vein in terms of the quality of story they're going to tell, it's probably going to be a no-brainer for me at some point. And the art looks really awesome, like really awesome.
yeah, it's so interesting to me that like, what is it? Forgotten Waters was Isaac Vega, then Freelancers was Donald Schultz, and then now
Yep.
this is Jerry Hawthorne. So it's different
Jerry
because
Hawthorne,
the
yeah.
games are very, very similar, but they all have different people designing it. And I guess maybe that's because there's just so much story in these games and so much going on. But yeah, Jerry's made some amazing games like Mice and Mystics and all the Stuffed Fables and stuff
Stuff
like
Fables,
that.
yeah.
So, but this one isn't a kid's game. He did make was it Comanauts?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm
Yeah,
really excited
Comanauts
to
is the one where
see-
you.
I'm really
you-
excited to see how this turns out, and if this has like the Freelancers humor in a space Guardians of the Galaxy style world, I am here for it all day long. And did you mention that it was coming to Kickstarter?
Oh no, I didn't.
That
Is
is
it
a
GameFound or
huge-
Kickstarter? Kickstarter.
This is launching on Kickstarter soon, which Plaid Hat has never, ever done a Kickstarter before. So this is like their first foray into Kickstarting. And I straight up, like, I remember when Plaid Hat was pulling away from being a part of Asmodee, I face to face in a dinner asked Colby if he was going to be like he was going to be kickstarting stuff, and he's like, oh, I don't know, with Asmodee distribution, I don't know if I can do that sort of thing, and blah blah. And he was opposed to Kickstarter back in the day because they like to like make the games, but I'm like, it's such a huge marketing opportunity, and like you get the money before you make the game, you get to know how many to print, you know. There's such a big deal, and just Kickstarter and crowdfunding in general is just such a big marketing tool at this point that like it's almost a no-brainer to kickstart a game, you know. Even though it does suck for everybody wanting to get the game because they have to wait like a year for it to come out, but it's still really cool to do it. And since they're Plaid Hat, they might be using it, like be able to pull more of like a Stonemaier thing and get the game out to people faster, you know?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if some of these companies that aren't like as reliant on that business model are able to do somewhat faster turnarounds on these. In particular, if it's not like, I think sometimes what slows down like the really big games is when you're packed full of like extra stretch components and stuff. I mean you just went through it, you know how it is. Like your intention is for a game to come out at a certain time, and there's just so many factors that kind of prevent that from happening.
A lot of companies don't have the capital to have a game basically done and ready to be manufactured. I mean, to be completely done before, you know, going to crowdfunding. They need that I mean, the reason Kickstarter started was so that people that had a dream of making something could get the capital to make something. Well, if you don't have the money to make it, then you can't get that far along yet, you know? So, and it's interesting that Kickstarter itself, you have to have a really, really good looking game to be able to get anywhere on the platform, which makes sense because people don't want stuff to fall through. But,
right.
But yeah, it's like, if you could like announce a game, get the Kickstarter going, and then give it to people in like 6 months or something like that, people would love that, you know?
Yeah, it's just too hard these days. Yeah, it's weird because I sometimes wonder, like, for as good as it is at marketing, like when a game's really available, and even if people, it's kind of, you know, well, Rob, when we were opening up, was talking about Helldivers 2, which is a game that I think the reason it's doing so well, it's a computer game, is because there wasn't some huge 3-year marketing cycle for a game. It's a slightly smaller studio, and it's really good. And sometimes it's like, is it the build up because then people have all this expectation, or is it sometimes this is really good and it's right here, which is kind of what Stonemaier does. Now, they're not like a little independent publisher in terms of board games, but like there's something about like, oh, here's this game Apiary. You can pre-order it now and it's going to be out in like 9 weeks or something. That's like,
it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And I can see the appeal of that as well.
You know, you're right there on the cutting edge of it instead of like, and getting it right when it's like, oh, we just learned about this and it's here. You know, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like seeing everyone's 7th Citadel rewards coming in all over board game Instagram right now, and you kind of go, oh.
Before it even comes in, you know?
Yeah, people are like mad at the game, and it's just coming out of the box. They're like, oh, I forgot I kickstarted this 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh. I get it. It tends to be why I'm not a huge Kickstarter too. I'm such an impatient person that I'm like, I want the thing now. I'm very ADD.
Yeah, but then like if you don't back it and you think you're gonna like it, and then the stupid Kickstarter exclusives, it's like crap. I really would love this game, and now I don't have this thing. So it's like you know, you're good if you do, and you're screwed if you don't type of a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I'm excited about some of the upcoming news.
Oh, and what might that be?
It's not number 2.
Well, number 2. Maybe we should make Courtney talk about it because the little trees. I'm not even a part of that joke.
Little trees? What?
What little trees?
What little trees?
So I guess there's a new expansion for Earth that's coming out. It's called Earth Abundance, and it's gonna enhance the gameplay and have new player interactions. And it's coming to Kickstarter on Earth Day, which I guess is in April. I think April 22nd. So I don't know anything else. That's all Kent wrote on that. So you can tell how much homework I did for this, but yeah. So that should be exciting. I think we all played Earth and liked it a lot. So
not me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You said
not
it.
Me.
You're just like,
I think Rob probably made us breakfast or something while that was gone, or cleaned up after.
Yeah, or he was doing something, but
yeah, he was like hanging out.
It's simultaneous, so it's fast and it's fun. I think it's a lot of it's made a lot of like people's top games of the year like it last year. So
It was one of my favorite games, and it really surprised me that it was, because it's a game that, even though it's really pretty and everything, it feels familiar, but it's just really well done. It doesn't look like they have a lot to say about it yet in terms of the expansion.
The theme does nothing for me. I've got 1,000 other games I'd rather play first. I'll play it like if you guys are going to teach me, and because everyone else is giving it praise, it's probably a good game. You know,
It's slick.
It is. Obviously, it's a good game if everyone's rating it so high. But like Earth, like okay, like
You're like, been there, done that.
I'm on it. I'm on it. And let me tell you, the Earth I'm playing is not this game. That's a completely different game, and I'm losing at that game. So we know
it's not an exciting theme, but it's well implemented. Like, it's a game that could be any theme with the right amount of like teasing and kind of, you know, tweaking. But like the way they did implement the theme into something like that, they did a really good job. Like, it's hard to fault it. I'm with you. Like, if it could have been like a giant goblin farm, and instead of little penis trees, we were putting little goblin heads or goblin eggs into the earth and growing them up into a goblin totem. Like, I would have loved that more, and it would have been more appealing to me. But the phallic trees, I mean, for all the giggling it was worth when Courtney started getting them out, it was worth it just alone for me on that. Phallic trees, everybody, you can have them in your house too.
You heard it here first.
They're good. They're good juju for fertility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right, Rob, is this the news you're excited about?
Yeah, well, I'm excited, but not nervous. I don't want to say I'm nervous. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. For those that don't know, Cool Mini or Not just announced their exclusive partnership with GameFound, which is a huge hit to Kickstarter. Cool Mini or Not has done over $100 million plus worth of Kickstarter campaigns. And so to lose that big revenue out of Kickstarter and have that move towards GameFound is going to be a big deal. And I know GameFound has been on the scenes really big with ISS Vanguard, and then Awaken Realms has kind of taken over Kickstarter or GameFound until this one crazy game about these space and lights and other things like that came over and just wrecked the world and took over. But before that, there was, you know, Awaken Realms and ISS Vanguard. And for those that don't know what I was talking about, Last Light, my buddy, Last Light, his game
I got
was
that.
also on
Game?
GameFound.
What game?
Yeah, Last Light.
What?
Yeah, but this is a big deal.
Is that a big winner? Is that a big winner that just sat down? I'm sorry.
That's a big winner. That's a oh yeah.
He's
So
here too
this
soon.
is a
he must have dropped out.
I'm excited by this. I'm excited because I'm hoping the relationship with GameFound will be better for CMON when it comes to communication and when it comes to distribution. One of the issues that I had with CMON on Kickstarter, and it's not so much Kickstarter's fault, but more CMON's fault, is their lack of communication. For example, several of their big projects, if the project was delayed, for example, like Trudvang, I'm still waiting on Trudvang stuff, and they do like an update every few months. Now Kickstarter
has nothing to do with Kickstarter. That's all.
No, I know that doesn't have anything to do with Kickstarter. So I say that to say I'm hoping CMON has gotten their act together, and with this newfound relationship, they have a new marketing team that's going to stay on top of things. I don't mind if you're going to be late to the dance. Just tell me why. Lie to me. Tell me that there's a flat tire or something. Don't just say you found it.
I think communication is key with these projects, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, I legitimately, I mean, behind the scenes or inside baseball, like I told Gray Fox, like there was a little lull in our first campaign. I'm like, hey, we need to post some stuff. Just post something. And they're like, oh, well, we don't really have a whole lot of news. I'm like, it doesn't matter what the news is. Just like we need to get manufacturing pictures. We need to get like something or just some sort of update. We just need to like talk to people because people lose confidence in your campaign that it's going to be delivered if you don't communicate with them regularly. And yes, there are people that are like, oh, I'm getting spammed too much by all this stuff. But people are way more the opposite. They really want to hear. You know, the people that don't want to hear, they can turn off notifications. But there are a lot of people out there. Like, I would love, like, I would love for even more like transparency, like every step of the way for manufacturing. Because I mean, I love seeing that behind the scenes stuff. And I know backers would see like a lot more confidence in that happening. It'd be like, oh, we're doing this version of the rule book. Oh, we're manufacturing this. I love behind the scenes pictures. Like, show me the miniatures being made. Show me the boxes being put together. Show me all of that stuff. And I'm sure it's hard to get that from the manufacturer because, you know, they're just factories making stuff. Like, but if you talk with your manufacturer, you can get that stuff done. Like, show me the boxes being collated together. Show me pallets.
the money.
Show me pallets of the game about to be loaded onto a ship. You know, I would love to like see stuff every step of the way. Like, send me information. Like, this is the ship that it's on. This is how long it's going to take. Sorry guys, I understand it's going to be like 2 months now, but like, hey, it just arrived in the States. Hey, it just is here. Hey, it just arrived in Europe. Hey, it just arrived in Asia. It's our hubs here. These people are getting the game. You know, these reviewers are saying this. Like, communication. Like, bombard people with stuff, and people are going to like respect your company more for like transparency. You know, I don't know.
It's hard to get mad about that. But one of the things I'm excited for GameFound, or at least I hope, and you might be able to share more information on this, Roy, better than any of us, is I've heard through the grapevine that some of the fees and stuff associated with Kickstarter are pretty crazy. And also some of the customer service that Kickstarter does with the people that run a campaign, and the lack of customer service that Kickstarter
Kickstarter literally doesn't talk to you at all. Like, I was a part of a campaign this year. One was on Kickstarter, the other was on GameFound. You know, I've never met a single person that's worked at Kickstarter. I've never seen, or most of the people that I work with, they do all of our stuff on here. Like, all of my coworkers do all of our stuff on Kickstarter, and we've never talked to anybody at Kickstarter. We just click the button and we hope that they approve us. And after they approve us, it's like, well, you're on your own. GameFound, we talked to plenty of people. Like there's people that are trying to help push stuff. Like, they're sending out advertisements for the game. Like, GameFound's sending out advertisements for the game. You know, GameFound's out there like pushing stuff. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people. I've met people that work at GameFound, you know, face to face. The people that work at GameFound are board gamers, and they're part of the board game industry. Kickstarter is just, they run a website, you know.
It's everything. It's nice to see games coming to GameFound, and hopefully a place that's more specifically for tabletop gaming to me. And I have to say, the one thing I do really enjoy about GameFound is the from a user interface standpoint, the integration for managing your pledge is so much better than Kickstarter, which just sends you a message and kicks you out to all these different locations. I have had several Kickstarters that I never got because I'm getting so many updates, and I missed the one link where when you go to your GameFound pledges, you can't miss it because it's usually chunked in there on that little scrolling section. It's like, this is where you manage your pledge. And I find that to be a breath of fresh air for someone who, like a lot of us, just feels pulled in a lot of directions. I feel like GameFound understands
when you click on GameFound, when you click on it and then you go to your pledges, a lot of times, like in just that generic box, like Kickstarter shows you everything you backed, but GameFound will tell you if you're paid up or not, like when you click on the page and stuff like that. Now, of course, you can search in more details and whatnot, but I'm hoping that GameFound is cheaper from a company standpoint, so that way we don't get, you know, charged all that extra stuff like Kickstarter might do or things like that. That's my hope, is because some of these games that we're backing, they're ridiculous prices. Like we're paying hundreds of dollars for a board game, right? Like, I'm looking at the new Tactics game. And there's a lot of great stuff, and I'm excited about that. But I'm not going to go. They just released like a new update, like a $520 update. I'm not doing that. I'm doing like the Dragon one, and I'm even having reservations on that.
Dragon when it comes in, it's going to be crazy.
I'm so excited for it. But I'm hoping that companies like CMON and other companies, Awaken Realms and whatnot, will not charge you an arm and a leg for shipping, will not charge you so much because they're not having those fees tacked onto them like that Kickstarter might have charged them.
I mean,
so, like, I would like to
Realm
see
doesn't
something
have any
pushed
fees
back.
tacked onto them because they literally are GameFound. So
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
Well, besides operating costs of a business, but yeah.
right.
But they make so much off of there. Like, I think Nemesis Retaliation set the new record at GameFound at like over 12 million. So
yeah, the shipping thing is so hard because shipping just is that expensive. Like,
no, and I get that. I get that. But sometimes I feel like, for example, some of the Zombicide games I played, I love Zombicide. I have a lot of Zombicides. I've, you know, but I'm wondering, is the game that expensive because they're tacking on extra costs from these third-party companies? Like,
I mean,
could the
some
game be
probably.
$40, $50, $60 cheaper? Could the game be an expansion cheaper? Like the last DC zombie side, right? There are expansions that are anywhere between $30 and $60. I would rather get more of your product and buy another expansion than get all these other hidden fees. And so that's what I'm hoping. Because Kickstarter, I get it. It's generic. It's for everybody. All types of art, all types of projects. Where GameFound is mostly, if not completely, game exclusive, whether it's board or electronic or whatever. I'm hoping that they don't penalize us more. Life is getting so flipping expensive. It's hard to justify a $300 to $500 board game anymore. When you got to think about certain things that you've got going on, you put all this amazing product out there. That's great. I want to play your product, but bro, you're killing me with these prices. So I don't know. I'm hoping that changes with GameFound. Does that make sense?
For real. Yeah.
It's hopeful. I don't know if it'll happen, but I mean, CMON just may decide to, keep the prices the same and just take more profit. I mean, that's what a company would probably do. But
see, that's what I liked about Plaid Hat at the beginning before they sold out to Fantasy Flight. Right?
Well,
like when we had Plaid Hat.
They didn't sell it to Fantasy Flight. They sold out to Philosophia.
Asmodee.
And Philosophia immediately sold them to Asmodee. So it's really not Colby's fault.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I felt like at the beginning, before they sold to whoever, not that we knew Colby or had a relationship with Colby, not the fact that Isaac Vega thought I was Roy and invited me and then immediately retracted the invitation because I'm not Roy or anything like that. Right. But like
deep cut.
Never gonna live that down.
But like I felt like if there was a problem or a situation, like the company felt more personable. And I guess what I'm getting at is some of these big companies feel more like a corporation than a big company. Like I'm not seeing the nerdum fan in it anymore, as I'm just seeing money making. And I miss that. I miss those companies. I miss the Will Wheaton days and all the stuff where we were really excited about some of that stuff now, when the companies were excited about some of that stuff now. I just feel like it's turning into money rather than, the desire to make an amazing product. And I could be wrong. It's just,
I think going back to, we were talking about restoration games. I've talked, not that Justin would know who I am, but we talked to him a couple times at conventions, and he seems to have that joy or that love of the game. Like, I mean, it seems like it's all about the game for him. And I think that's why they bring back older games. But, so I feel like, but they're a smaller publisher too. So,
see, I like that. I like it. And their games, Return to Dark Tower, fantastic quality. I'll pay for quality, right? Like I pay the CMON prices. I like their stuff. They make good quality components. Not all the games are good quality, like True Dank, for example. I don't know what kind of game I'm going to get when all this stuff comes in. I still haven't even opened up the first box. I'm deciding, should I sell it all in shrink after I get everything else? Like, how that stuff can change. So I don't know. I'm hopeful and excited about this. Maybe it's a false hope. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to play Helldivers.
Well, I think it's exciting that CMON's coming to GameFound, and just because they're not as...
Do you know how long the partnership is? It said that they signed contracts. Do we know how long?
I'm not sure, but that's crazy. It's huge news, especially for GameFound. And I'm sure the contract has to do with CMON being able to be a part without having to pay those fees, So it's going to be good for them, but we shall see.
Because I'll say this, the $260 for the Dracarys, that's not that bad. I know it's a lot, but when you think you're getting multiple boxes, the stretch goals, a terrain pack, and you're getting this huge flipping dragon, go to Wizards of the Coast right now and just try to buy one of their little dragons. Go to Wizards of the Coast and try to buy a little dragon right now. You're going to spend $40-$50 for a dragon that can like sit in my hand. Right. Right. So I'm going to get this amazing game with all these components that's also cross compatible with another game for $260. I don't feel so bad about that. To me, that's not a bad deal. Right. Man, I just come on. Help us out.
There you go.
Make it work.
Well,
it work.
I guess we'll talk about board games that we've played and stuff. We're gonna start with Adam.
So I haven't played a ton of last week, so I did break out some Yamatai.
Yamatai.
Yamatai is kind of like the it's like the forgotten cousin of Five Tribes.
That's what
in a
everybody
weird way.
says.
It is. It's like the game that's not quite Five Tribes that Bruno Catala made right after Five Tribes with the same publisher. So there's a lot of similar component quality, and it does a couple Bruno Catala mechanics. So there's similarities because there's like not bidding for your turn order, but there's like a mechanic where when you take a certain little fleet token, it will determine your turn order. So if you take a more powerful token, you're less likely to go first next turn. But going first the next turn has a lot of value because you want to be able to place the right colored ships to get to the right pieces of land that you either want to build on or to block off from other people scoring, or to get the resource on the land for exploring it first, which will let you then buy. I forget the names of them, but they're kind of like, the gene, basically like the genies in Five Tribes. It's a good game though. I think that I kind of forgot that it's fun. It's got a similar satisfaction to playing Five Tribes, where there's like a lot of kind of paths you could take. You could try to get a bunch of ships on the board and conquer a bunch of land, or you could build up the ships and sell them, because I believe you can like turn them into a bunch of cash instead of placing them on your turn, because you kind of have this little cycle of 5 actions that you take. And it's a beautiful game. It looks really great on the table. Gives a little bit of an Islebound vibe if anyone's ever played Islebound. Mechanically, you're doing a bit different things because you have this shared kind of trade path through Yamatai, and you're trying to like build up these buildings and become sort of a landlord game in that sense. How's this? It's Five Tribes meets Monopoly, except for you're never paying anyone's like rent or going to jail. You're just building the houses on the island. But I like the game a lot. I think it's pretty accessible as well. I mean, it's as accessible as Five Tribes. I don't know. I guess I would weight them about the same. But it's a lot of those Days of Wonder, nice wooden components. And really great illustrations. It's that just everything is kind of exactly as you'd expect. And if you like a Bruno Catala game, this is one of those ones that I don't think gets as much praise as the other ones, but it plays really well. And I had a good time playing it. And I'm kind of sad that I might only be the third time I've ever played the game. It's been on my shelf, and I was literally just looking at it, going, "Man, that's a nice looking box. I'm gonna open that up." And I did enjoy it. So recommends.
Yeah, we played this so long ago. I don't remember a lot of it, but I just remember loving it and thought it was just looked so great. And you can gain these powers of the gods or something in that game? Is that right?
Yeah.
Or I thought that was a cool aspect of it because it makes you kind of unique and gives you these cool abilities. It's a good game, but we got to get that back to the table.
It really is. It's like I said, I think it's just overshadowed by other stuff that Days of Wonder did in that same time frame and other things that Bruno did in that time frame. But I'm a fan, and I think I'll probably play it again soon, just based on the experience I had with it last week.
Awesome. Rob, what was your game?
Man, we had a outing at our church. We're starting up this spring semester, the CTC Board Gamers, or I like to say the CTC BGs. And we brought a favorite, because every time we start the group up again, there's always new people that come in. And we played Telestrations. And we played Just One. And we played Strike, and we played a bunch of other games. But man, we loved Wits and Wagers. I didn't know, man, Christian people love to gamble. And so, man, we were gambling it up, and we had a great time. And it was fun to see how everybody got into it. And now I got a poker chip set, so we play with the poker chips. But I forgot it's been several months since I pulled out Wits and Wagers. Recently our party games have been Happy Salmon, where I constantly tell the story about busting Scotty's lip and how Roy approved of it, and then we played Telestrations and stuff. But we busted out Wits and Wagers, and it was just so much fun. Even my kids were playing. We had a good time. And so Wits and Wagers, if you haven't played it, is a party trivia game where you're asking questions, and every single answer is going to be based off of a number. And you don't have to get the number exactly right, but you are guessing Price is Right style. You want to be closest to without going over. And so what I loved about playing with my daughter is her only being 6 and not having the life experience that we would have left huge gaps in numbers. So it's like, how
Mhm.
much did Wonder Woman weigh? 10 million pounds. 'Cause she had all this armor and stuff on. She didn't say 10 million, but I think hers was like over 1,000 and stuff like that. And then so you have those big gaps, and then sometimes the gaps are a little bit closer, and it's like, crap, the gap is a little too close. And so anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's a great, simple, easy party game. You can play as well as ask the questions at the same time. Pretty much anybody can learn the rules. We play with the Vegas style. I like the Vegas board and the chips and how that works. But the normal Wits and Wagers playmat is okay as well. I don't know if I'll ever go back to it because I like the Wits and Wagers Vegas playmat. It's a lot of fun. But Wits and Wagers, a classic trivia party game. The only complaint I have about this game is, and you guys might be able to help me out on this, I hope there's an app or a way to get updated cards, because I think our cards are like the Vegas ones, and so it's like based off the 2017 census. How many Coca-Colas was, bro? Since we've had COVID happen since then, we've had Donald Trump's been president since then, right? Like we like there's some crazy stuff that has happened in the world since 2017. Can we get some updated cards? And so
There's 2 Beyonce albums in there.
bro, there's beyond right, like Taylor Swift just did a concert or a tour for over $1 billion, the largest tour ever in human history. And now I'm not a Swiftie, I can't stand Taylor Swift, but let's put some like updated trivia in there. So besides that, a great game. Just realize though that a lot of the cards are old, but I bet you can go to like Google and just say modern day number based trivia questions and you can come up with something. So Wits and Wagers.
Love it. Yeah, it's fun. I haven't played Wits and Ragers like with just people in a long time. The last few times I played it has been like those gigantic Dice Tower like group Wits and Wagers games, and I kind of
But
miss
there weren't
playing
any
it, like,
people there.
So what?
There weren't any people there.
There were people there. It just wasn't like individuals writing down the number. It was like tables of people writing down the numbers, which is a very different vibe, So it's like when you have a whole table writing down a number, it is fun to do it that way, but it's a whole different thing when you're an individual person, you write down a number and you're like, you know what? I like Rob's number way better than that, So I think Rob knows what he's talking about on this one. It's kind of fun to like know the person and like specifically like go because you're like, I think they know more about this topic than I
The
do.
worst and the meanest thing is like if somebody puts down 10 and then the next person wrote down 11. It's like, you jerk. You absolute jerk. I love that. That whole Price is Right thing. Like, 101, Bob. It's fun. It's a good game.
Yep. Trivia for people who don't want to play trivia. It's great.
There you go. Yeah. And it's all numbers.
All numbers.
Mine is a game that we talked a little bit about, but not exactly this version. I played Unmatched Sun's Origin, which is a version of Unmatched, which I did play with Tales to Amaze, but I also played it head-to-head against Chris. It has 2 different characters, Oda and Tamui. Oda is very much like this commander that has these 2 different like ally units, or are they called minions? Anyway, whatever they're called, and he's kind of like commanding those, and he gives them extra strength in combat, and he basically can do all these different flanking things where he tries to get them to kind of like surround people a little bit, and he gets extra like combat damage and things like that. And Tamui basically has a bunch of stuff where if people move out of her zone, she does damage to them, but she tries to kick people out of the zone, and if she attacks the actual heroes directly, she does like extra damage and extra things, and like ignores their stuff like that. But she is a ranged character, so she also does stuff when she's adjacent to people. So it's she's an interesting character to play. I loved both of these characters. I love the fact that this box set also comes with like all the lore of these characters, like from like Japanese history and stuff like that in the game. And these characters are really fun to play as well. I played them in Unmatched Tales to Amaze, and Oda has an ability where friendly characters get +1 attack, which is amazing in cooperative play because it still works with the other characters if they're in his zone. So it's like everybody's like, all right, I'm going to stand in this zone. Everybody get in this zone and like wreck the Mothman. And it just works so good. The flanking doesn't work for friendly characters in that you have to have your actual minions to be able to do the flanking. But but he's still really good in that. It's just fun. Like they coming out with all these different sets for Unmatched, and I just love the game. So it was a blast to play those, and just interesting to see these. I think this is the first time they've done like. I guess they've done a little bit of historical characters in some ways. Like they have like Tesla, even though it's such a fantasy version of Tesla. This felt more like a truer like version of history, even though
I have
it's
such
not
shame. I still
good
haven't
that
played
way.
this game.
Rob,
This game
It's good.
up your alley.
And I even bought Tales to Amaze, the one with the Mothman. I even bought that.
Yep.
And I have like the Red Riding Hood, Bigfoot one or whatever and stuff like that. I am ashamed.
want me
I
to
am
come over and
ashamed.
teach it to you on Saturday?
play-
Or
Play
Ooh,
Tales to Amaze
you're
with your
coming
daughters.
on Saturday? I'm going to be in Atlanta. I'm not Atlanta. I'm actually going to be in Savannah, Georgia.
we're going like past each other.
Yeah. Man.
Let's
Um,
stop at a Waffle House and play Unmatched on the way. I don't have
yeah,
time to do
let me
that,
know
but
next time you're in town. I definitely
Every
want
time I'm in town, you leave town. Straight up. Every time I'm in town, you leave town.
Coincidence?
I think that's
I
it.
don't
I'm
have a
running
schedule.
Rob
I don't
off.
know. Hold on. I don't know his schedule. It's not like Ruthie is texting me saying, "Leave my man alone. Don't be here." I don't know
She's
that.
trying to
So
keep us apart. That's what it is. She's
that's
"You
what it
better
is.
leave
She's
town.
jealous.
You better leave
But,
town.
yeah, I need to play this game. Everybody loves it. Great game. Also, restoration games. It looks so good. And it looks simple and cool enough. It's right up my alley. And plus,
It
my
is very
mom's got
simple.
me watching this Korean love drama right now. And so, like, these characters, like, they look Japanese, but still, I'm digging the vibes.
I can't wait for the Witcher set to come out.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
pretty
haven't
cool,
even
too.
seen like
Yeah.
art for that or
Uh,
anything yet, so that'll be cool.
They haven't really released much about it.
Yeah.
There'll be some coin tossing in it, I'm sure.
hmm
References to it.
Oh,
Well, are you tossing or
hope
you
so.
flipping it?
you're tossing. You're tossing a coin.
Yeah, that's
To
right.
the Witcher.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
All right, Kent, your game.
All right.
I've actually played
Um,
this.
So this is Raiders of the North Sea Redux. So this was a
Shipwreck.
Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux, not Raiders. Shipwrights, it was a game that originally came out in 2014. It's by Garfield Games. And it was in their first series, which is the North Sea series, which was like Raiders of the North Sea, Shipwrights, and then Explorers. So those three games were kind of like the initial launching games for like the big series they have going at Garfield Games. And apparently Shipwrights was not really liked by a lot of people. So recently, within the last year or two, they put out a new version of Shipwrights. They kind of redid the whole game. They kept the thematic elements of the game, but they basically just reworked it. And they came out with this. It's a drafting game, essentially, where you're drafting cards, you're using those cards to build different Viking ships, recruit people to your board, and you're trying to build houses and just basically just build stuff, get points, and it's all simultaneous for the most part. You're going to play over 5 rounds, and you're just going to draft a bunch of cards at the beginning of the game, or each round, I should say. And the drafting kind of varies depending on your player count, but essentially you're just going to get a handful of cards. Then everyone's going to do their own stuff on their own board, so it's kind of solitary in that aspect. You're going to interact in the draft. Other than that, you're going to just be doing all your stuff on your board. You're going to be building your boats. You're going to be getting craftsmen to work on your boats. You have some workers you can place on different spots. You're going to be gaining as the game goes on, so that you can build new buildings, which give you new actions. You can do some resource exchanges and all sorts of stuff. But as you build up, you kind of get more unique as far as what you can do. You can put some craftsmen underneath your houses that make your guys better at building certain types of boats and doing certain types of things. And then throughout this game, there's these 3 tracks that you're trying to work up on. One is a trade track, one's a military track, and one's a renown track. And at the end of each round, you're going to see who's highest in the track, and you're going to gain benefits of these different leaders that correspond to those tracks, which is kind of cool. So that is actually another aspect of it that's not totally solitaire. Because you don't want to try. If you know somebody's coming up close behind you on a certain track, you may want to focus more heavily on the military track or whatever. And they give you kind of cool special abilities based on the different tracks you move up on. But if you don't get any benefit, you still get a kind of a consolation prize hero to help you for the next round. But it plays quick. It's got pretty good iconography. If you like kind of sort of puzzly, resource conversion, hand management, drafting kind of games, it's got a fun theme. The art's really nice. It's by the Miko. It kind of looks very similar to all those other Viking games, but
it's
you're just doing that kind of stuff, and you're building your Viking ships, and you're just trying to get the most points.
it's
But
very set collection-y, right? How did you feel about
Yeah,
how hard did you find it really hard to build ships in general?
ships are tough. Yeah, I think
It's
ships are tough to build.
it's so crazy that it's like, oh, it's shipwrights of the North Sea. Man, there's so many icons you need to build those
Yeah,
ships. Like it's like, oh man, I need a leader or somebody who can build this kind of ship, but then I also need all of these resources. It's so many
yeah.
resources,
But there are ways, like there are, as the game goes on, you're going to be
It
building
gets
up.
easier, yeah.
Yeah, you get more stuff, and like you can tuck those guys up underneath your houses to make it easier to build certain parts of the ship,
To be
ships
fair,
and all
I've
that.
never played this game correctly. When I played it, we were when we spent our workers to build ships and build things, we didn't, or when we put them on places, we weren't taking the workers back
Oh,
like you're
yeah, yeah.
supposed to, which made it even
Yes.
harder. But I've heard that even when you do that, you still have to spend workers when you're building ships as well. So
You
you
still have to
still
spend
lose
them,
them
yes.
there. So
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
it it
It's really, you got to get the
it
right
was a
houses
tight
to
game. Like
generate.
this is like
Yeah.
a drafting Euro game where the resources are tight. So there are
The
some
the
people that
other
really enjoy that kind of Euro, but like for me, it's like, man, I like to do set collection and be able to build up cool things. And I did.
Yeah.
I wrecked in this game even though we played it wrong. But I was like, man, I really wish I could build more ships.
you can, but you have to really be careful with how you spend your stuff. The other thing
Right.
that's huge is those every round, the resources you can exchange resources for,
It
or
matters a
sorry, the
lot.
the ones you can buy for gold. I can't remember what it is.
Mhm.
It flips out a card, and it makes it so um maybe like one of the resources is worth $3, other resource is worth $2, and the third is worth $1. So it makes certain resources cheaper. So
Yeah.
like you can kind of use that to your advantage sometimes. It just
And
depends
wait
on the
until the
situation.
resource you need is cheaper to build that ship
Yeah.
that needs a ton of that resource.
So it
Yeah.
just depends. Yeah. So you can kind of use that to your advantage. But it's really heavy resource management and just
Mhm.
doing the best you can, and trying to
It's
combo stuff together helps a lot.
It's an interesting drafting game because you draft all these cards, but you're going to discard majority of them for just the resource icons
You
on
could,
them.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you could,
So, and
yeah.
almost anytime
Yeah.
you see one of the leaders or whatever that has gold on it, you always draft it because gold is basically wild in this game and with
Yes,
points at
but
the end.
those guys can be tucked underneath your buildings, and they give you pretty good, powerful instant effects, which are really
Right.
good. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, I think it's, as far as it's pretty easy to play, but it's harder to do well, I'd say. But it's a pretty straightforward game,
Yeah.
and it plays pretty quick. I would say you can probably get it done in an hour, maybe a
I
little
would
bit
like
less
to
if you
play it
want to.
again
But
with the correct rules. They just reviewed it today or whatever. I don't know if the
okay,
review went up, but I was like, I wasn't invited to the review because I was taught the game wrong. I was blaming Chris. It is Chris.
oh, I see.
You're
It's easy
awesome,
to do.
Chris,
It's easy to
but,
get rules
teach me
wrong.
the game right. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
But no, but yeah,
teach you the ship rights.
this was only the second Garfield game I've played, and even playing it wrong, I wouldn't say it's bad. I do enjoy drafting. I love simultaneous action,
Hmm.
but man, it was grindy.
Yeah, this one definitely has a different feel than a lot of the other Garfield games. I'd say it's lighter than a lot of the other ones. But yeah, it does have that. It is kind of tight. Yeah, but it's good. I had a lot of fun with it. I'd like to get back and play it some more and kind of dive deeper into it and see if I can get really good at making the comboing all the ships together and getting the right crew and all that.
Yeah.
So, shipwrights of the North Sea are North Sea Redux.
I've heard amazing
Will-
things about Courtney's game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's been a while, but we played Forest Shuffle, which is just a little card game where you're building a forest or a tableau basically of cards. So it's a pretty simple game. On your turn, it's kind of like Ethnos or Ticket to Ride, where you have basically two actions you can do. You can either draw cards or you can play cards. So you're drawing cards into your hand, and then you're playing out in tableau. And the way you pay for the cards, or the way you can play them out, is you in order to play a card, you have to pay for it with the other cards in your hand. So it's got that kind of mechanism. Was it Race to the Galaxy mechanism? Yeah, where so you want to keep all the cards in your hand because they're all so good, but you have to give them up to like pay to put down other cards.
Is
And
that Orkana?
Not exactly. A little bit.
But a little bit.
It's more like Marvel Champions.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, a little bit that too. But yeah, but when you the other kind of cool thing is when you play the cards down that you're paying for, they go into the draw pile. So, you're leaving those cards out that possibly the other people you're playing against can take, or if they get around to you to your next turn, you may be able to get them back. So that's kind of a neat thing, that you may be able to get the cards that you're paying for with other cards back. But yeah, so you're building out this tableau, and you have to. Some of the cards are forest or tree cards, and then the other cards are creature cards. And you have to put out tree cards to have a place for the creatures to live. And so all the creature cards are split in half, either top and bottom or side to side. And so each tree card can basically hold 4 different creatures. So one on the top, one on the bottom, one on the left, and one on the right. And basically, you're just building out this tableau, and the cards that you're playing down. Sometimes they give you a cool bonus or allow you to do 2 cool combos when you play them down. So they give you immediate benefits, and then some of them just give you like end of game scoring. So it's kind of, I know we were talking about Earth and stuff earlier, but it's kind of has that similar theme to Earth. But it kind of gives you some of the same vibes as Earth because you're, building out this tableau and hopefully giving yourself lots of points towards the end of the game. So I feel like if you like Earth, you would probably like this game. But this one's like a little bit faster and maybe less going on. But I thought the art was really good, and yeah, I like this game a lot. We had a lot of fun with it. So when you check out, definitely, especially if you like Earth, like I said, those kind of games.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool. I don't think you can find it anywhere at the moment. Like it started to get a lot of talk about it, and then it kind of vanished. But I'm sure it'll show back up.
Well, they've already announced an expansion for it, so I'm sure they'll probably reprint the base game when that comes out.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me.
It also has that kind of cool thing where when you discard cards to the center and everyone can take them, if that fills up too much, it clears off completely. So you got to make sure you grab the cards before they go away if you really want something. So it's like kind of have a little bit of push your luck in that way. And
the kind of push your luck I forgot to mention is like just like kind of Ethnos. I'm going back to Ethnos with the dragon cards. Like when you get that third dragon card, the game's completely over. It's the same thing with this one. When you get they call it a winter card. When you get that third winter card, the game stops immediately. So like once you have that second one, it's like, okay, well, am I going to risk? Am I going to be able to play this card or not going to be able to play this card?
I'm going to end the game here.
Yeah. So you have that thing where if people are drawing cards, then it's going to be over a lot faster. But if you keep retaking the cards that everybody just keeps playing out there, like picking them up, then it might not go as fast.
Yeah. All right.
Forest Shuffle. Well, our topic for tonight is couple games. So what games work good for couples? I know that Adam has one in here, and this was one I thought of as well.
Yeah.
Anything with duel in the title.
That's true. I think that is true. I picked Splendor Duel because probably the most played game that I have with my wife is Splendor. And then since Splendor Duel has come out, and I guess this is just me talking about Bruno Cathala even more, it's got a little of that. It works for me. I like Bruno Cathala mechanics, Sumi. To me, this is the better version. It is. This took Splendor and made it a slightly more interesting game. It's still essentially the same weight. It still takes the same amount of time to play it. It's like maybe a 30 or 40-minute game. But it adds a little bit more of a wrinkle to the puzzle. There's a little bit of that pick up and put down mechanic with the little I think they're called favors with scrolls. I forget the game name for them is. But if you take 2 of the same color, you give the scroll to them, and then the scrolls effectively kind of can turn into like an extra turn. They just give you more action to take as you play the game. And if you played Splendor, you know that it's the economy of the game is that you do one thing and the next person does one thing, and you do one thing, and it's a game that does move along pretty fast as a result. But Splendor Duel does this really great thing where you have this little board between the two of you, and as you pick up the chips, the gems in this case, you're not replacing them even when you spend. They're going back into this bag, and somebody has to spend a refresh in order to put them all out, and then the refresh gives that person that scroll, and the scroll gives them extra action. So it's just a really nice little yin and yang kind of game. You can play it really easily. It's not particularly hard to teach. Every time we play this, we always feel like, man, I would like a 4-player version of this game too, though, because it's really good. And for as much as a classic Splendor has become over the years, I think there are a lot of games that have sort of like nudged it out in terms of like that really quick little engine, like kind of card engine builder out there. Like I think like there's Century and things like that sort of I think have taken its place for some people in the hobby, but this is really cool. It adds just enough of it to kind of feel good. You get the extra little I forget what they call it, but this is the pink gem that you get in there. You get the new color. You get a few extra little tricks you can pull up your sleeve, but otherwise it's pretty much the same game. And it's one of the games that my wife will play. My wife is not a big gamer. She likes familiarity, and she's like, well, I know how to play that. So probably the two most played games in our marriage again are this, not counting party games, but like this, and then Boggle. We used to play the crap out of Boggle when we were younger. Two young journalists, we would sit and just try to write as many words as we could in a minute. And so the Splendor Duel, if you get a chance, play it. It's a great couples game. It was either this or Fox in the Forest for me. So Splendor Duel.
Ruthie loves Splendor, so I'm ashamed that I haven't played Splendor Duel. But we mostly play the Marvel Splendor, so they need Marvel Splendor Duel.
Yeah.
So we do head to head. I wonder if you could just adapt or just use the Marvel stuff with this and still make it work.
Combine the two games, yeah.
The extra color, you probably could do it.
You could probably
Or
print out stickers.
switch it up and play,
stick them on there.
Splendor Pokemon Duel. That's what I need to play next, because they came out with that Pokemon Splendor.
Yeah.
Speaking of Korean dramas, that game's only in Korea.
Yeah. Oh, and I think the thing I should mention too is that I think there's 3 paths to victory in Splendor Duel versus the 1 in Splendor. So it's not just the first person to X amount of points. You can either gain the influence of the lords. You can score X amount of points on the cards traditionally, or you can score a certain number of crowns. So there are 3 paths to victory. So you can play it a little bit differently too, which I think adds to the spice of life of Splendor.
All right, Rob.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Are you putting them both up there, or you want to talk about individually?
Oh, you can talk about them individually, but since they were on the same slide, I just clicked on the thing.
So I put up Sequence because that's like if I want to play Sequence, or if I want to play a game with my wife, even if she's mad at me, I can say Sequence and she'll be like, fine, I'll play Sequence. So we love Sequence. And it works well because like she grew up playing card games. My family grew up playing card games, and Sequence is a card game, but you get matches and you put your matches on a board with tokens. So I put that down there as like a thing to my lovely wife. So that's Sequence. The thing that if you want to argue with your spouse, you play the mind. Okay? If you want to fight with your significant other, you play the mind. And if you're not cheating, then you're not playing the mind, because there's no way. No way. You're
not supposed to show any emotion while you play the mind, right? You're not even supposed to count, right?
Anything. You're not supposed to do anything. You're not supposed to hum. You're not supposed to make any noise.
Does anybody play the game that way, though? Does anybody play it that way?
And if you do, I don't want to play with you because I'm all over the place. Like, I'm not saying words, but, bro, I'm hitting octaves. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I love the mind. I think the farthest my wife and I ever got as just the two of us was to the 9th level, which is pretty good. Okay? If you played the game, that's pretty good. Kent and Courtney probably beat it on their second try. Not everybody's Kent and Courtney. Screw Kent.
No.
Never got any close.
Not even close.
But the mind is one of those fun games
we do
where
play by the rules.
You play by the rules. See, that's why you can't. Well, and see, what's also tough about the mind is it's not an easy game. You think it gets harder. You think it gets harder as the game goes on because you get more cards. But the first round, you get 2 cards, and they're anywhere between 1 and 100, and you have to see who's. Well, what if you both have cards over 50? Like what if somebody has like 67 and the person has like 92? It's like, like nobody thinks that. So it's a lovely game. We enjoy playing it a lot. It's a fun couples game, but we'll also typically play with another couple, and so all of us are like yelling at each other telepathically, and so it's a lot of fun. So Sequence, if she's mad at me or not mad at me, I can get her to play that 99.9% of the time. And then the Mind, it's a great 2-player game, and it'll really let you know where you're lacking in your relationship on the communication level. So if you need like that therapy session type of a thing, and you're wanting to break it off, play the Mind. Or if you're just mad at each other, play the Mind. Don't play it expecting like for you to have a happy end. There's no happy ending playing the Mind, but it's fun. So that's my 2.
Good pick.
When Rob plays the Mind, you're also playing that scale of 1 to T-Rex. You're kind of playing that game.
Oh yeah.
Playing both. You don't even need to buy that. If you play the Mind with Rob, you've also got a scale of 1 to T-Rex, and you're playing it. You already learned how to play both.
I cheat so bad playing the Mind. Like I'll do hand gestures, and I'll be like, and I can just see Kent just being like boiling, like that's not how you play this
If you
game.
say the numbers in Spanish, it doesn't count, right? You can totally say the numbers in Spanish, right?
No, we don't speak in any language, or we will hum in all languages, and we will do hand gestures, but we won't do hand numbers.
Kent, I thought we played this with you once.
We played it at Dice Tower a while back.
Like when it first came out.
When it first
How
came out, we played it a
angry were
bunch
you,
of Dice
Kent?
Tower.
How angry were you?
No, I wasn't angry,
Yeah.
but it was the Mind.
I
Just
do
silly.
remember.
It's just fun. Silly fun.
Would you consider that an actual play of the Mind?
Yes,
Okay, just
I would.
checking.
Yes.
It must have been Dice Tower because I can remember Kent
It was
going,
Dice Tower.
He didn't log it in his
It's not-
BG
it's
stats.
not really
though.
how it's
He
supposed to work.
definitely didn't log it in his BG stats.
Maybe I did.
It's just fun. And it's a cute couples game. So
Yeah.
For me, mine is a game that I've had a great time playing with me and Ruthie, and this is Project L. I think I actually got Rob onto this game as well. This is a very Splendor-ish game as well, but this is a game where you're collecting all these different polyomino shapes and collecting all these kind of like pieces, like double layer boards that all those polyomino shapes fit in there. You're trying to most efficiently fit your polyominoes into those to score points and get more shapes so you can combo even more things together. It's just this efficiency puzzle of putting all your pieces in there. It's a pretty quick game, and it's just fun to have all the different pieces, and you kind of like level up your pieces. It has like quick snappy turns because you're not going to do very much on your turn, so it's going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's just a quick, great game, and a game that if anybody loves like little puzzles or like little efficiency engines and you like to feel like, oh man, I got better as the game went along, Project L is a lot of fun to play. Like when I first saw this game, I thought it was just going to kind of be like a toss away, throw away sort of thing, but it's been fun. It's been a blast to play the more I've played it.
it's probably it's definitely top 15, but it might crack my top 10 of all time games.
Wow, that's crazy,
And
man.
I know it's in Marlowe's top 5. Well, I love it for more of like the sentimental value. Like this was one of those games that once my family played, like all of us, we love to play this game. And it was even requested when we went back to visit my in-laws for Christmas. Hey, will you guys bring your Project L? Like Marlo, I didn't put this on my list because I thought one of you guys would have this on your list as well. But this is another one of those games where she'll play just about every single time. We bring this to any time we do a social gathering. Project L, it's such a simple, fun, complete, and gorgeous game. The components are amazing. The player board spaces, the way it's all laid out, and the rule book. The rule book is 6 pages. 2 pages are in English, 2 pages are in French, and then 2 pages like are in German. Like it's
Did you say French with a southern accent? That was amazing.
French. I was saying French, but then I said France. No, I was trying to say France. French. Anyway, it's such a great game. It's such a great game and so easy to learn. It is a wonderful pick. I'm so glad you picked it because I was going to put it on there. I just thought somebody would have had it on there, so I didn't load it up there. But easily, I love it for the sentimental value, and also it's not a bad game. And
And
I had
the
two
tactile
amazing,
part of like
beautiful people.
having all those polyominoes are just so fun to like
Oh.
fit into the things, you know?
Those are the best. And then when you add the expansions, because I had some amazing, beautiful people hook me up with these expansions, and they are gorgeous, and I love them very dearly. The expansions are so much fun. We've already played with a couple of them, and they are so much fun, and they add so much. And now my daughters, whenever we play, like they won't play unless the expansion is in there. At least the expansion that gives you the new black cubes or the black pieces that you can put in. They love that. So such a great game. That is a couples game. That's a couples game where you will have a happy ending, even though you're competing head to head against each other, because it's so pretty, right? And it's not that expensive of a game. What are you talking about? Like $40, $30, $40? That sounds sort of high-ish,
35.
right? But 35. But the
That's pretty
quality of the components, the quality of the cards, the quality of the Tetris pieces, the tile pieces, like it's very well worth it. It's a game that will last. It's made to last. They made the game to have a lot of hands touch it, to be played a lot, and to last. Good, solid components.
There you go.
Sorry, I know this is
Project
yours,
L.
but I support your decision.
I got backed up and tag teamed in. There we go. All right. Kent.
All right, so I kind of went off on a tangent here. So Courtney and I like deck builders a lot, and we play a lot of deck builders, especially cooperative deck builders. So some of the cooperative deck builders we've played that really stood out to us, that I think work well with 2 players, especially. Marvel Legendary is always up there as far as 2-player co-op deck builder, right? I feel like we always mention that, but some of these are maybe slightly lesser known as far as co-op deck builders, but we played through the campaign of Hero Realms. So Hero Realms is like a head-to-head, basically straight bare bones kind of, fight each other deck builder. But you can play cooperative in these 2 different campaigns that are out, Rune of Thandar and Lost Village.
Oh, nice.
And they're pretty short little stories. You kind of go through a narrative. There's, I want to say, maybe 6 games per campaign. They're not super long or anything. And it's just kind of a fun time just to, do the fun deck building stuff, but work together, defeat the monsters. And then the Thunderstone Quest is also kind of a similar concept. There's a Barricades expansion or Barricades
But a
mode.
much bigger game.
It's a much bigger game, much more involved, a lot more setup. But
Takes
it's
up like 3 Calic shelves.
yeah. But it's a Barricades mode is basically you're fighting against a big bad, and they're trying to destroy the town, and you're trying to beat the big bad before they destroy all your buildings in the town. And it's fully co-op, a lot of simultaneous play. But it's kind of doing the Thunderstone Quest kind of stuff where you're building a deck, you're taking your heroes out, you're trying to level your heroes up to specialize in certain classes, collect different items and things, and it's kind of a unique deck builder in the way that it plays out. It's not like your traditional like play all your cards in your hand, do all your effects, and then move on. It's a little more involved than that, but it's a really cool game. And both thematically are just obviously fantasy setting. That probably isn't for everybody, but as far as deck builders go and being a co-op couples game, I think they work pretty well. If you like that theme, I think either one of these would work well, depending on how big of a game you want, and really who you're playing with. Or if you just want to fight each other head to head, there's the regular Hero Realms or even Star Realms is perfect for that, especially if it's a lighter kind of thing. But those are my picks for couples games.
Yeah, Kent and I we're playing tons and tons of Star Realms on the app.
Yes.
Like all the time.
Head
And
to head,
then
yeah.
and then he was just like murdering me all the time. And then he stopped playing because Kent stopped playing because his cousin, he was also playing his cousin at the time, and his cousin was like murdering him. So he like gave up because he kept losing to him. And I was like, well, what about me? I want to keep playing. I keep losing. But
I
like those
actually
games a lot.
was not aware that there was a Realms co-op version out. Like I don't own Hero Realms. I own Star Realms.
Okay.
And I own Cthulhu Realms. I own the Cthulhu themed Realms.
Yeah.
Games, and I like them. But I actually may pick this up tonight because I would love to play that kind of game, but with a little co-op dungeon crawl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
like-
lot of fun.
So I will say the rules to get through these are a little tricky. They're not
Mhm.
the greatest, but once you get through the rules, it's pretty straightforward and fun.
Oh, nice.
And there's a third campaign coming out soon, I think, at some point. So it's like just a continuation of the same campaign. So it's like
Oh,
part
cool.
3.
Yeah, I like the card play in the Realms games. So
Yeah.
I think I would enjoy it.
Yeah, I
Although-
don't think they're that expensive either. These
That
expansions.
Matrix, the legendary encounters Matrix does look pretty good right now too. I'm gonna be.
I'm just gonna get all the games.
Mhm.
All the
Yeah,
games.
this is what happens. I just start plotting my next one. I've been really good in the last year and a half, so I don't know. This would probably be cheaper. Legendary Realms Matrix is probably $80. These are probably $30 or $40 or something for one of the campaigns. I would wager. When you buy the campaign box, does it come with heroes to play?
No,
or
I think you have to have the base game. So it's like you have to have the base game. You can have hero packs. I think there's hero packs you can get if you want or not. That make basically like give you a unique deck, but I don't think you have to have that. I don't remember exactly, but I think you just have the base game and get the one campaign expansion.
All right, that works.
There's the first one.
Interesting.
Sweet.
All right, let's go to Courtney's games.
So I mean, just kind of going on the co-op theme because I really like co-op games. So I just went with the Pandemic legacy games. I don't know. These are just legacy games are just kind of fun in that way that the game, you're playing, similar game, but it just like changes. So you get this like overarching story. And so I feel like there's kind of creates more of like a epic gaming night feel where it's like you have, this like because when we were I just remember, I'm sure I'm spoiling Pandemic Season 1, but hopefully everybody's played it before. Like when my character died, and it was just so traumatic for me because I was like, I had this character like almost the whole thing, and it was just like the most random thing that killed the character, and I was just like, are you kidding me? Like I was so mad, and I really just wanted to like, no, this was not gonna happen. And Kent was like, no, you got to follow the rules.
Yeah, you're almost gonna cheat and say. it
Yeah, I was gonna.
And
But,
can't have that.
Yeah, I can't have that. So, but just I just love the stories that come out of playing these games, and they're especially good I find with two people, just because if you're trying to play with more than two people or more than a couple, it's hard to get it to the table because you don't necessarily have everybody at one night unless you're like really good about setting. Okay, we're gonna play this game on this day, but when we go through a legacy game, we just like, okay, we're gonna play 1 or 2 games each night, and we can get through it sometimes pretty quickly. Like with these, we did. Except for Season 0 when he left me in the middle of that game. But
I died in Season 0.
No, you just left. But
Did you finish Season 0?
I finished it by
Courtney did.
myself. Yeah, I ended up playing his character and my character for like the last few games because he was just like he had enough.
So you had to
Which
put
was
on
good.
his
Because it was
passport?
good. I thought it ended pretty well, but he was just like, I'm done. I can't play Pandemic anymore.
It's like it was like his indignant leaving of Station Fall, and then he won without.
Yeah. But yeah, so other than that like I said, I feel like legacy games are good for couples just because, I mean, especially if you live together, then you've always got that person there to go, okay, let's play this game and we can get this out. We don't have to wait on other people.
Except
So
when you don't. Dun dun dun. The Soviets got Kent. I'm just kidding.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And if you're listening to this at any point, and you've never played a legacy game. I think Pandemic is the one. Rob might say it's Risk Legacy, which I haven't done, but I do think Pandemic Season 1 is kind of like
Whatever.
the one to do.
Clank Legacy.
Yeah.
Risk Legacy is that for me because I love Risk.
I think
Not
it's
everybody loves Risk. I would go with
Clank
Pandemic
Legacy is the best
Legacy.
legacy game.
Oh, is
I
is
would
that
do
really
that
good?
or Clank
I would do
Legacy.
this one.
We're playing Ticket to Ride Legacy right now, and it's really good.
Have you guys played
Oh,
Clank
is it?
Legacy yet? It's so good.
I
Kent-
have it, but I haven't
I
played
did not
it.
like
It's sitting on my
Clank
shelf.
What's
Kent
wrong with
hated
it?
at least-
I loved Clank Legacy.
At least
Kent hated
2-player.
it.
I did not like a 2-player.
I just
Oh,
kicked
'cause
his
you're
butt
bad at
like
it?
the
I'm just
whole
kidding.
time.
It was so. I was so unlucky, like so many times.
Is that why you didn't like it? Because she kicked
I
your
mean,
butt? Like,
no,
had you
partially-
won, would you
No,
have
no,
liked
no. If I had felt like I had a chance at all, then I might have liked it a little bit more. But it was like
How do you not have a
It was
chance? That
just
doesn't make a
terrible.
whole lot of sense to me.
it's so super bad luck. Super bad luck.
Like with everything they have like these story components where you're going after within Clank Legacy.
Yeah.
It's like I would always get the ones that did good stuff for me, and then sometimes they were like red herrings or whatever, and like they'd do bad stuff to you. Like he would always get the bad stuff. Like it was just
Every
it was so
I didn't
funny.
even see that many of them that did bad stuff. I thought
No,
they
there
almost
weren't that
always
many,
did good
but-
stuff.
But
Kent
but
found them
Kent
all.
hated
Is what
it.
they
It was
say.
terrible. Yeah, it just.
But we did finish it.
We finished.
did
We
finish
played every
it.
game,
You,
yeah.
you played every game, but
Yeah.
you were miserable
I
about
loved
it.
Clank Legacy. It was
I
I think
liked
it
it
would be
too.
better with more players, though. I don't think 2-player was ideal for Clank Legacy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are enjoying Ticket to Ride Legacy, though, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard really good
Yeah,
things
it's good.
about it.
I like it.
How much more complicated is it than like one of the Ticket to Ride games? Would you say?
The first few games are pretty much Ticket to
Ticket
Ride.
to Ride.
We're on games. I think we just finished game 6.
Nothing is like super complex. It's like you add in a little. If you've played a lot of the variants of Ticket to Ride, you can probably handle what's going on. Probably.
Yeah, I mean nothing.
I'm just thinking about like, is it a game my family would play together? 'Cause my family all plays Ticket to Ride.
they
Ticket to Ride San
probably-
Francisco.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, they're old enough.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would
yeah.
say yes.
It's a matter of whether I can make the pitch, because I would love to get my whole family to play a Legacy game, but the tastes are so varying. But that game does get played around here still.
I mean, it's
although I
still-
would play base Ticket to Ride anymore because it takes too long. it's freaking Monopoly.
Yeah, I mean the first few games are pretty. They kind of feel like Ticket to Ride,
Small box.
the small box Ticket to Ride, like Ticket to Ride New York, because you have less trains and there's
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give
those
anything
are the
away,
good
but yeah,
But as
it's
it goes
been really
on, it
good so
definitely
far.
gets a little bit longer.
Yeah, so by the end of it, I think it probably will be like a longer game, probably like
Yeah.
Ticket to the main
The,
Ticket to Ride.
the big box, yeah.
Yeah, but we're really liking it so far.
Mhm.
Nice.
Well, that is some of our suggestions for couples games, and there is so many games that are great to play as couples. And I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like board gaming together, especially cooperative games, but even competitive games, is like just an awesome way to bond with your significant other. You know, just sitting down away from screens, FaceTime together, and be able to sit there and play a game. As long as it's not too combative that it causes the rift. You know,
I mean, unless that's what you're looking for. Some people are looking for that, but yeah.
I mean, it just depends on how your relationship works. But it is kind of fun.
I just
though, to,
picture
like, have
I just
those
picture
competitive
Rob
moments.
getting smoked in sequence by Marlo, because I suspect she's really good at that.
Bro, she beats me every single time. I hate it. I mean, I love it, but I hate it. And she's not better than me. She's not better than me.
Bro, I played cards with her. She wrecked us both.
It's just she gets a lucky draw, but that's why she's like, oh, let's play sequence, and I'm like, oh, you play sequence, but
Rob's wife is like a table card shark. Like if you're talking about like trick taking games or like flow card games, I think she's a monster. Is what I think.
Her and my uncle are the luckiest people I've seen with just getting like the card draws. I don't know what it is.
We gotta take her
Like-
to Vegas, huh?
Man, I would love to, but she'd get I couldn't do that. Yeah, but anyway, yes, it was blah, blah, blah. She kicks my butt, but I still love it, and it works well. It's fun. It's fun. So
Awesome. Well, I guess that has been an episode of the Epic Gaming Night podcast. And we had Kent here. Da-da-da-da-dum.
Did
And
you
we do
win?
Best Match.
next time.
Everyone
I did
wants to
my-
know if you won.
I did my usual 2-1, like always.
Like always.
I always-
you
I
can't
always pretty much
clutch
lose
the
one.
victory.
I always lose one.
Can't come down here and play.
I do like your Lorcana shirt though.
play the Fallout.
shirt-
You get
Magic the
extra
Gathering
stickers
pre-release
if
with
you wear
me.
Disney shirts.
You want to come play the Fallout pre-release of Magic the Gathering at Cool Stuff?
Yeah, I'd do that.
All right, just come down to Homestead.
I've been
or
playing
to
Magic
Miami.
lately too. I've been playing online.
Oh
It's
no,
great.
he's
been
regressed
playing
into
Pokemon?
CCGs, and the bank account.
I kind
slowly
of
going down to
want to
zero.
try the new Star Wars CCG too. The art looks so good on the new Star Wars one.
I disagree highly. I dislike
What?
the entire look of that game. That's crazy.
Oh, I think it looks so cool.
Which
really?
one?
Wow.
New Star Wars Unlimited.
Do you like it,
Yeah.
Kent? We need somebody to
I
tie
don't
break.
know. I haven't looked into it too much because I can't
All
spend
right,
any more
Rob,
money
do you
on
like the art?
CCGs.
Look it up.
Hold on, what's it called?
Star Wars Unlimited. You have to be the tiebreaker.
What is
All
it?
right,
I
hold
wanna
on,
see
give
it.
me.
Rob's
Yeah,
got an eye
it's
for
like a
art,
u-
right?
It's a unique art style for sure.
It
But
makes me
I
feel
guess
like it's like a '90s CCG, and I don't like the frames. I don't like the
Yeah.
art. I don't like any of it.
oh wow. See, I
wrong?
kind of thought you might like it just because it's got more of an animation bend to it than other games have had in the past.
It does, but I don't like the card frames they use. They look so flat to me. I feel like
Yeah, I'm
there
not
needs
crazy
to be
about the
more.
artwork.
It looks like magic.
The-
Is
the-
it supposed to look?
It needs
Yeah,
I
more
think that's
graphic
what they were
design.
Crazy about the artwork.
What'd you say?
I guess.
I'm not too crazy about the artwork.
Oh. All right, listen. Here's what I was thinking.
It looks like a
Fantasy
faded
Flight-
out picture. It's like someone took a picture of the original poster and then took a picture of it.
I
and
like
a
their
copy
other
of a
Star
copy
Wars
of a
art
copy.
way better. Their other Star Wars
The
art's
thing about-
amazing.
The thing
Ben's
about
with
Fantasy
me.
Flight. All right,
That's 3-1,
fine.
Adam. All right, Kent and Courtney, what
It's
side
fine.
are you on?
I'll take it. They look like old Magic cards.
I'm okay
here's my
with it,
thought.
but I can definitely see
Yeah.
the complaints. It doesn't bother me, but I can see. But also, when I play
I-
games, the theme and all the art goes away, and I just play the game. So
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I
man,
would
am I
like
on
to
Cat's
try
side
terrible.
now where the theme doesn't matter? Damn it!
trying to play this game doesn't matter. As long as the graphic design's okay and it's readable, I think it's
I think the
fine.
Star Wars deck building game, I think the art is great in that, and I love the graphic design in it. And then they come out with the CCG, like right back to back, right after the deck building game, and I love the way the Star Wars deck building game looks way more.
That's
Some of the
another
cards
one of
look better
mine.
than
This is
others.
very like comic book vibe.
Yeah.
That's another
to
game
me.
that is a great couples game, is the Star Wars deck building game. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
That's
you
another
that's
one.
basically-
Of
basically
Stuff like
that's
shit.
basically a Realms game too, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, it
very.
is very
It's
much.
more going on than a Realms game, but yes, yeah, it's basically
Rob, you
like
haven't played
that.
that yet? You should play it.
I need to.
I kind
it's in
of
shrink on my shelf.
It's
Courtney
really easy to get into.
and Courtney and Dustin played it like behind my
Right.
shoulder at Rob's this last year, and I like paid attention a little bit, and it felt very Realms to me. I
It
just
is
like
very
that
Realms.
Fantasy Flight wasn't like recycling a bunch of Star Wars art, because it feels like with Arkham Horror and with other stuff with them, a lot of times the art gets used on all of their same properties that have the like. And this seemed like a
Ooh,
fresh.
that picture is not good.
See, Courtney's on my
Fortuna.
side. All right, that is
Bib Fortuna?
1, 2,
That card looks
3,
awful.
4. Kent's in the middle, and
I'm in the
Adam
middle.
likes
Like
it.
some of the cards look fine, but that
But
one.
the
looks
thing is,
horrible.
like, Adam is the most artist of all of us with his photography, so I don't know how that lines up. Do you count as like 4 of us, Adam? I don't know how that works.
No, it's subjective. I like it. I kind of like like what do you call it? The
Retro vibe to it.
I like the 90s art stuff a little bit. I mean, there's a couple weird ones too
I
that
just
are
like more
I mean,
texture in my graphic design, I think. I like my graphic design to be more complex. 'Cause if I look at something and I'm like, I could do that, then it makes me upset because I'm not a graphic designer.
It just looks like to me I'm reading a graphic novel in Star Wars or something, or a comic book. Is what it
I don't
really
hate
Yeah.
that
screams
stuff,
that.
But
But you're talking about just all the extra stuff, the borders and the.
yeah, I don't like the graphic design,
that.
and I don't really. The art is only okay to me. I think their other Star Wars art's better.
yeah. I mean, I'll give you this. Like I'm not. But again, the graphic design on it has kind of a. God damn it! It has like a Realms. It has a little bit of a Realms vibe to it too, like old
I'm
Star
laughing
Wars.
at Ben in the chat. He says even Adam's webcam disagrees with him because it became blurry when we started
No,
talking about
I've lost all my focus. It's like trying to tell me to shut up. All right.
Now you're good. You're good. Oh,
Oh,
Well-
see, I conceded, and then the focus came.
there you go. See, the webcam agrees. It's
That's
settled.
it, man.
Come bring back old Fantasy Flight. Christian Peterson, you're our only hope. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe Ghost Galaxy will do something.
Yeah, Bill Blur was in The Mandalorian, so there you go, Adam. You're Bill Blur, not Bill Burr. No, I'm just kidding.
Bill Blur, blah blur.
Anyway.
I'll take it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Epic Gaming Night podcast. Make sure to check us out all over the place. Make sure to tell your friends and family to come watch. And you have to be back next week for Rob's Epic RPG recap.
Yes, very, very excited. Very, very excited for the Tales of Love that are coming out of Zuela. The Tales of Love. That's
There you go.
That's
Speaking
bringing
of
everybody
couples
together.
games,
Love.
it's going to be so much love going on in the RPG campaign.
Bro, there's so much love going on in this campaign. It's disgusting. So
I'm kind of terrified.
you should be. So
I can
wear
hardly- I
protection,
can hardly
have
do.
love, and have a good night.
All right. And on
Did
that,
not
we'll leave
make
you.
this sound-
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.